Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by Caleb, Sawyer, and for the first time in what feels like centuries, Ahmad.
Hello, I'm back. I'm back from a long vacation. Just have to take my mind off things and rethink my life, reconsider things.
You had to go on a long journey to find yourself, right?
I took a trip to India and took on Buddhism, and now I'm here. So
it's impressive. Sorry about the extended break period we had. Finals was pretty crazy, but we're on the other end of it now, and hopefully we can get back to doing this in a more for a more steady period. We have a couple of news topics. A couple is maybe too small a number. We have a few news topics to discuss, and then Ahmad, you've been sort of watching and absorbing a bunch of stuff over your
my trip to India.
Your trip to India.
I've had a lot of time to watch some things, and I'd love to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, and we have all been doing what we've been doing, so let's get right into it. So I think when last we podcasted, The Last of Us 2 had been delayed indefinitely.
Right. Yup.
Now we now have a release date for The Last of Us 2. I do not remember what said release date is.
I think it's
in July. Right? No, it's in June. So
yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima is that one.
So Ghost of Tsushima got pushed back to July, like mid-July or something, and The Last of Us 2 is now releasing on June 19th, 2020. So that was quite the saga.
It was quite the saga.
I was legitimately like, look, guys, I don't know if this game is coming out this year. Like, it just does not sound. It doesn't sound like these guys have the game ready yet. Now, this is not the only thing that happened. Caleb, do you want to run us down on perhaps one of the most crazy leaks in gaming history?
Yes. Okay. So now, mind you, I have done an excellent job, and I mean an excellent job, on keeping up to date with this story while also not getting spoiled by the leaks, because I do care to not know what's going on with the game. Where do we begin? So it was leaked from some. So originally the report was that the ending and considerable amounts of the game was leaked to the public. What was thought to have been at first a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee is what we thought it was. Probably upset over the probably it sounded like payment disputes, and
and working conditions at the studio in general were apparently really bad.
But apparently, it ended up coming out that it was done by the leak was caused by a group of hackers. Wait, well, did we assume it was hackers, or hold on? Let me look at the report real quick. I think it was hackers, but some outside source was the one that leaked The Last of Us, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm just looking at an article from Polygon, and it's the the statement says that like they're not, the only thing that we're allowed to know is that they're not affiliated with Naughty Dog or Sony Interactive Entertainment. So
and I think we just automatically assumed it was like a hacking type of thing.
Yeah, that would be a safe assumption. I also would hazard to guess that like if they were affiliated, they don't want us to like they wouldn't want to say that they're affiliated. So I don't know if they're necessarily lying, but the chances of them lying about something like that are not zero. I guess. Yeah. The crazy thing about the leaks to me is that like a lot of people, like I think it was Troy Baker said something about like fans need to keep an open mind or something like that. Which is not necessarily a great sign for your product, by the way. Like imagine if Rian Johnson had said that before The Last Jedi released.
That's true.
So what were the leaks? What was it?
Basically, mostly big story leaks.
They were huge story leaks, including, I guess, the ending that. A lot of people were upset about. I don't know what it was. Like specifically, I'm really trying to avoid like what they're upset about. I mean, it's not going to deter me from buying the game because I love the first game. I'm not going to stop. It's not going to stop me from buying the game or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating. Yeah.
Like thoughts with Naughty Dog is like I've always been a fan of their studio. Everything I've ever played for them I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
I may not be this mega fan of The Last of Us like some people. I really enjoyed the game. I don't think it's a perfect game by any means, but I really enjoyed the first one. And so I'm looking forward to the second one. And whatever it is, I'm gonna give it a try because I at least owe Naughty Dog that. But I'm interested to see what it is that's going on with this game because behind the scenes, there's been a lot of issues with, to mention these leaks and the people who are upset about the story. I think the story is going to definitely be divisive, and I think that's what Troy Baker was trying to say. I can also understand him being a little frustrated that a game he worked on for years, people are just trashing on it before anybody's even played it yet. So I can understand where he's coming from.
Right.
Well, and I think the most having not played the first Last of Us, I think like the most worrying thing to me that I saw without spoiling a single thing about the actual content of The Last of Us 2. The most worrying thing that I saw was that like the comparisons to season 7 of Game of Thrones were actually really common, which is super unfortunate to me that those are even in the same comparison.
That's what I've been hearing too. The
season 7 or season 8?
It's season 8.
Season 8. Okay. Yeah. I don't watch Game of Thrones, and I don't know how many seasons of that show there are.
It's all
I guess like Caleb and actually everybody knows the saga of how I was like, all right, I want to play some good old American made AAA video games, and then I tried to play the first Uncharted game, and I was like, I don't know if I like this, guys. And so like the chances of me actually getting to the point where I'm ready to play The Last of Us 2 is pretty small, but like it is depressing for me to see, like, because the first Last of Us game really, like, it's easy for me to like look at it and see it as not that unique, but at the time, like it made some really serious waves in the gaming industry, and so it's a shame to me that like The Last of Us 2, like it could probably never live up to that anyways, but it is depressing that it's not even going to, there's a very good chance that it's not even gonna reach even as many people because of how many people are just gonna not recommend it.
Right.
The way that like the entirety of the gaming industry just sort of knelt at the altar of The Last of Us after that game came out.
Right. This is entirely due to the leaks.
Yeah.
That's what makes me sad. It's like, you know, the game's just not even going to get a chance in that aspect of, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you know, with these leaks, you know, some people even if they don't seem to mind the ending, you know, even they're going to be like, oh, I already know what happens. Why would I go out and, you know, spend $60 on a game that I already know where it goes down? You know, it's just
it's a really unfortunate situation.
Yeah, I was very disappointed to hear that it got leaked, but as natural, as soon as I heard it was leaked, I'm like, oh, nope. We aren't following any Last of Us content for the next few months, except for any kind of news that came out. So,
I mean,
I'm happy I haven't gotten spoiled, which makes me happy.
Yes, that's the good thing. I think
something going on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There's something going on with Sony behind the scenes, because this combined with the fact that they're saying so incredibly silent on PS5 stuff, there's something fishy's going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
Well,
as in the words of the legendary Donald Duck, something screwy.
Something screwy.
I would agree. I think this leads actually into our next news topic as well. You know, Xbox has not done a lot of showcasing of like games and stuff for the Series X. You know, they've done more than Sony, but that's not a very high bar. Like I think you know, they had their little mini conference or whatever a couple weeks ago, and
if you saw my Twitter, you would know my reaction to
that. Well, I was telling Caleb, like, I'm looking at these announcements, and there's like one game that I'm interested in, and I thought that game looked really cool, but it's weird to me that this console generation, and you know, it's kind of hard to launch a console in the middle of a global pandemic, but it is weird to me that it's so like underwhelming almost. Like
nothing's wowed me yet that I've seen, aside from that Unreal Engine 5 demo.
Well, and even, you know, even like the Unreal Engine 5 demo is cool, but like I've always felt like the Unreal Engine is only as good as you make it look.
That's true.
And like games can look like the first, like, I don't think it's controversial to say that the engine that the Call of Duty games run on is super dated at this point.
Yeah.
But
No,
games
Modern
can look like that.
The new Modern Warfare looks good.
Yeah, the new Modern
Yeah, no,
Warfare is
but,
really
like,
good.
Yeah, but like a lot, I guess I'm applying this more to like the sort of stretch from, I guess it would have been like 09 to 2013 or something like that,
Yeah.
like right before PS4 hit, where Call of Duty games all basically looked the same. Meanwhile, you had Arc System Works using, I don't know if they were using the same engine. I don't know if the COD engine is Unreal, but Arc System Works was making Unreal Engine look like just a genuine anime, and so like it comes down, I would say, probably more to how devs use it than the actual power of the engine itself. That said, Unreal Engine 5 looks good.
Yeah.
Like the screenshots that I saw,
Right.
I haven't watched the whole demo yet, but the screenshots that I've seen are
it was a really cool
really
demo.
impressive.
Now, I will say the demo was filled with lots of triangles talk. They went into a lot of technical stuff that even I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it looks great.
The triangle stuff was very interesting. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with any of that stuff, but I mean, it seemed like it was enhancing a lot of the graphics. I don't know if that's really what it does, or mostly the imagery, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very familiar with the technology as much, but it looked amazing. I mean, it was it looked like a lot of the light, like the pockets of light that would come in from the from above, like that looked so realistic. It was insane. I mean, it gets me excited. I don't know, but like then again, like kind of like what Azra was talking about. I really don't know. I don't know how. Well, like, is that going to transfer to the actual gameplay? Do you think, or is that just kind of?
Well,
it depends on how the developers use it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine. See, I would imagine once I know, I am a big fan of this series, so my bias is showing in this. But I think personally, I think we could go into speculation a lot, but which would be a huge side tangent. But I think when Square Enix decides to use the Unreal Engine 5 for games like Kingdom Hearts 4 or
FF7 remake 2.
FF7 remake. I don't think it'll be 2, but
probably.
Yeah. FF16 is probably the safest bet. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the example that comes to mind for me is probably like in terms of the relationship between dev freedom and like the engine's abilities is the difference between like Resident Evil 2 and Devil May Cry 5.
Okay.
Games play completely different, not even in the same genre, running on the same engine. Graphics are comparable.
Yeah.
And so it's and the Unreal Engine looks really, really good.
Yeah.
So it's it comes down more to like we've been saying this whole time, like how devs use it rather than like the actual capabilities of the engine being super up to snuff. Like it needs to be able to keep up with new developments, but assuming that, then I would imagine that the devs who are using it poorly are going to continue using it poorly, and the devs who are using it well are going to keep doing the same thing. And then whoever wants to innovate and make up their own engine because they want to, or like they can make something proprietary, they're going to do that. I think most of the first parties don't use Unreal very often.
I mean, like, there's been all of the new engines for this next generation have started to look great because, like, Microsoft making the Slipspace engine for the new Halo.
Yeah.
Like, from what we've seen of the new Halo, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of Microsoft games, that briefing that they did of the Xbox Series X gameplay, well, even though it wasn't really a lot of gameplay, I have to say, while I was disappointed with the stuff that was there, and I thought the messaging was a little bit, how do I say, not biased, but a little bit leading. Yeah. It was, I thought what they actually did show, when you really look into what it was more of a case of really almost like an indie showcase.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the exclusive games. They had already specified the exclusives and Microsoft owned stuff was going to come later in the summer. And most of the big third-party studios like Activision, EA, Ubisoft, with the exception of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, most of that stuff they're going to show off on their own at their own briefings. They're not going to have Microsoft do it. So really, most of what was shown here were studios that were not Microsoft owned and were not big enough to hold their own press conferences.
Right.
So a lot of it was maybe AA games and some indie stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's what Caleb and I were both excited for. I think it was
Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah.
That game was the only game, especially reading about it after the fact, struck me as probably the only game of the conference that seemed like a big get, the way that these conferences would, aside from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I don't even think they showed much of beyond beyond the initial trailer.
Yeah.
It struck me that there was like one big get and then a bunch of like cool tech demo looking things that didn't make that many waves. Like I forgot, like there was one cool like Titanfall looking thing, but it's not Titanfall.
Yeah, like the ones, I pull up the list here, the ones that really looked interesting to me were, I thought Bright Memory Infinite looked kind of cool, especially considering it's being made by one guy.
Interesting.
That looked interesting.
Isn't there controversy surrounding that though?
Yeah, I mean there is. When I say made by one guy, developed, yes, but he's also the one controversy was there was one or like a handful of assets that he used that he didn't cite properly as being used in the game, but he's rectified that since then. That game looked kind of cool. Scorn, I have no idea what it actually is, but it looks kind of like Alien, so I'm on board.
That's
that's what I said. I'm like, is this
I never
Alien?
played the first one. What?
I said when I was when I saw it, I'm like, is this Alien? Like I legit thought it was Alien for a second.
Well, I thought it was Prometheus related because I was like, this looks like Prometheus.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Well, that one and the trailer for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 actually got me interested. Like I never played the first one, but this actually looks pretty cool.
Bloodlines. Did you play the first one?
Yeah, that and other one is it's like this cyberpunk like isometric twin stick shooter. It looks pretty cool.
Twin stick shooter.
I feel like we need more twin stick shooters as like an industry standard thing. Like I feel like I want more like non like present day America stuff in like twin stick shooters. I feel like Kid Icarus Uprising is an example of a game that like is a shooter by and large, but like I was able to really like that because it did more than just run and gun. Like it did a little bit more than that. I'd like to see more devs try to innovate on the like third person shooter in the next console generation, because like when I'm playing Uncharted, I can only like run around, kick a guy, and then go hide in a corner so many times.
There's two good twin stick shooters in the Halo series that are pretty cool if you're interested in those.
Now, when you say twin stick, is that like the top down feature?
Yeah, or is that like a top down or isometric looking view, and rather than like a first person shooter or a third person shooter, it's more of like arcadey style game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I think I feel like I've played one of those in my lifetime.
Yeah, they've been around a while. Most people, I would say, have probably at least seen one before.
Yeah. If you have a PlayStation 4, I recommend Resogun. That one's good. If it's I think more twin stick shooters is probably a good thing. It's probably healthy.
I can pretty much say though, my default game when I buy the Xbox Series X, it's gonna be Assassin's Creed Valhalla and it's gonna be Halo Infinite. Those are like the two day ones that I'm gonna have.
Is Halo a day one thing?
That's what they've marketed.
Is that confirmed? Okay.
It's gonna be cross-gen though. It's gonna be Xbox One and Series X.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
With that, got to get that smart delivery.
Oh yeah.
Valhalla looks pretty awesome though, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
No hood, no buy.
What?
No hood, no buy.
Oh, okay.
If he doesn't have the hood, then I'm not buying. I'm already probably not buying an Assassin's Creed game. If he doesn't have the hood, I'm definitely not buying it.
Well, I think he's going to get the hood in this. I have a feeling he's going to get the hood in this, and the character is going to get the hood, because from what it sounds like, this is the last of this trilogy between Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. And to me, it seems like they've already brought back the Hidden Blade. I think personally, I'm willing to bet by the end of it, he gets this character gets the hood.
Like from what I've seen, that it kind of gets me excited about this game is, it seems like it's somewhat of a return to form. It's keeping the stuff that people liked about Odyssey with the choices and the playable characters and all that, and there will still be a quote unquote canon if you're because whatever it is, typically what people said was the novel, like the choices that were made in the novel for Odyssey were the canon choices. But like it's keeping the stuff that people liked from Odyssey, like the choices and the exploration and all that, but it's also going back to the Assassin's Creed stuff like the hood and the hidden blade and the deep lore and all that kind of stuff. And I'm excited to see them kind of marry the two with the stuff they introduced in Odyssey, as well as going back to your traditional Assassin's Creed lore.
Right.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping though, as much as I'm excited for Valhalla, I kind of wanted to see and I think it's going to be great having that Viking time period. But I kind of wanted some more of like ancient periods, because they had kind of set this trilogy up as the ancient world with ancient Egypt and ancient Greece. I kind of wanted either ancient Rome or or like feudal Japan, going back farther.
Yeah,
Oh, that would've
Japan
been-
would
that
have been
would've
good.
been
Like I would have been really interested in a Japan.
I think
Oh,
we'll get
no.
Japan eventually. I think the only reason they haven't done Japan yet, at least right now, is because of Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh,
Yeah,
True.
I bet they had some kind of insider knowledge about Ghost of Tsushima, and we're like, we don't really want to try to one up Sucker Punch in their own year.
Right.
Let's
So we'll probably
like,
get one eventually.
yeah, I'd be surprised if feudal Japan didn't get touched by the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Yeah,
I do think it is like it's a hard ask for any studio to try to one up Sucker Punch on a year that
Yeah.
they're releasing a game. Like that's just really hard to do.
right.
And it's not even guaranteed that Ghost of Tsushima is even going to be good. That's just like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
a really well-renowned studio at this point.
I am kind of glad that Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed and this has been a little while, but they're going back to doing each game being on its own. I guess if that kind of makes sense. Like, I love Ezio, but after hitting 3 games in a row, I was kind of like, can we get another time period and another character?
Right.
So I like how each game has just been, we're going to go to a radically different area of the world and character and time period. And I like that. And the fact that we're getting them relatively frequently, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next game possibly is after Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish I would have gotten more into the Assassin's Creed games because they're so interesting to me and where they set the game period. And like every period they choose is just seems like it seems like a place I would want to, visit as a kid. I mean, maybe not visit, but like, just a very interesting place and time.
Yeah.
They're all interesting periods.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would really like to see them do, like, I was looking at possible periods that they could have done. I think feudal Japan's definitely up there. I would have liked to have seen ancient Rome.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, have they tried to do like an Aztec, like in America? Well, they did the Americans, I guess, but like the Americas.
They did the American Revolution, but they haven't done like Aztecs or Incas or any of that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
if they
cool.
tried to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like Assassin's Creed is one of those things that like there's so much that they can do, and what they need is just like good execution on what they're doing. Otherwise, it kind of falls flat.
Right.
I think this is what I heard about. It was Assassin's Creed. I think it was set in France. Yeah.
Unity.
French Revolution.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Unity. Like for all the controversies surrounding that game's release, because that was a year when basically every game released just broken.
Yeah, well, that one came out. That was the first PS4 game. So it was the first next gen.
Oh yeah, it was the one after Black Flag. That's right. Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. Black
Rogue.
Flag was the next gen game. I forgot.
But I thought Black Flag was cross gen.
Yeah, it was cross.
They did Black Flag, which was cross gen, and then there was in 2016 they did Rogue, which was for past gen, and then they did Unity for next gen only.
Yeah. So I think Unity I think was the one that released, and people were like, and then just kind of like got forgotten about. I think that might have been the game that forced Ubisoft to sort of go. Yeah, that was 2014. I think that's the game that Ubisoft decided. Oh, was Syndicate the one after?
Yeah, Syndicate was
2016, I think, or was it 2017? No, because Origins 2017.
Syndicate was 15. So Origins, I think, would have been 17.
Yeah, because they took 2016 off, except for me, obviously. But
I like that they've taken, because Origins was the last one, right?
Odyssey was
Odyssey
in 2018.
Oh, Odyssey. Okay,
So
well,
it seems to what they do is they do 2 in a row, take a year off, and then do 2 more.
yeah. I feel like I want an Assassin's Creed game that has had a full 3-year dev cycle.
Right.
That's what I want. Like that's an Assassin's Creed game I will buy. Is like what Valhalla comes out sometime this fall.
Oh,
Creed,
yeah.
Theoretically.
Valhalla, theoretically, yes. Yes, 2020, no release date yet. If it comes out, if in 2023 there is a new Assassin's Creed game that hasn't come out since Valhalla, I will buy that game.
There's no way that happens.
No.
There's no way Ubisoft's gonna let that happen. They're gonna crank these out every.
At least every 2 years, probably, yeah. Which is unfortunate. Let's move on. I think we have basically one more news story. Two more. We have two more.
Yeah. Yep.
So Ahmad, you get to pick good or bad news first.
Let's do the bad news first.
Bad news first. I like it. Bad news to get it out of your system, and then good news to wash it out. That's the way that I always do it. So Ruby Rose has left Batwoman, and if you don't know who that is, Ruby Rose plays Batwoman.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much
don't know who that is. Shame on you.
I read that yesterday, and I was like, so wait, they're doing a second season.
Yep.
Without their lead actress.
Is Batwoman good? Is the first one good?
So
I didn't watch it.
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Okay.
I will say, this is gonna. I'll try to keep this brief as well because this is going to go on a very big side tangent. I really liked. I liked the show. I liked Ruby Rose as the character. And honestly, I was really getting into it, especially towards the mid-season finale and everything. But I stopped after the mid-season finale, not because I was upset at any of the show or that I lost interest in the show or anything, but specifically in that show. My whole thing was as soon as Arrow ended, I kind of just stopped watching any CW superhero shows. It's just to me, it ended with Arrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 episodes of The Flash, and I think I might. I'm not saying I won't continue with these series or anything. I think I might just wait until like summertime and like watch them all at once. I'm not as like devoted of a fan anymore on any of those shows. So that's
I feel similarly.
That's the whole reason why. Go ahead.
I will say that like I've been keeping up with at least Legends and Flash since Arrow ended.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched Batwoman or Supergirl. I'm probably going to start them over the break. That way I can be caught up for them when they start again in the fall.
Well, they're not starting in the fall anymore.
They're not?
No.
Oh, because they can't shoot. That's right.
Yeah, so they're going to be coming back in 2021.
Right. That way I can be ready when they do start again.
Right.
Didn't Flash just like stop production? Didn't they all just stop production? Like they're not even releasing new.
So the way it ended up happening is Legends finished its production. So Legends is still airing. It's going to air its normal schedule.
Oh, okay.
They have about 3 episodes left, I think. Flash and Supergirl, and I don't know about Batwoman, but presumably Batwoman.
Yeah, Batwoman
didn't just finish their like last 3 episodes, so they had to turn it into like a makeshift season finale with their episodes. And I
Really?
saw that
Wow.
with Flash. Like, for example, Flash was supposed to get 3 more episodes, but it's like 19th episode of the season ended up being its season finale.
Wow.
Let
It
that
was
be a
very
lesson to the
anticlimactic,
shows. Yeah,
but I
was
had
gonna
to
say,
keep in mind the fact that it wasn't originally supposed to be the end of the season.
let
Yeah.
that be a lesson to these shows, though, because I'm so tired of them like filling up episodes just to hit the 20 episode mark. When, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
make each
Like,
episode
Flash has
as
kind of done
important.
a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah, with the fact that they split the season up into 2 separate storylines, which is what I've been saying they should be doing for like years now.
Right.
But
Since probably before the podcast was a thing.
basically, yeah. But I think like Flash so far, I'm looking forward to seeing how they start the next season, because the way this season ended, they didn't really even wrap up most of the core storylines, because with no spoilers obviously, but things just kind of ended. And so I wonder if they're going to just start the next season with the next episode that was originally supposed to air, or if they'll scrap those episodes and retool the scripts into the premiere of season 7.
Yeah, I think they have a choice there, and I would rather see them do what they had planned, because then I feel like they're just going to rewrite it and fill and prolong the those arcs than what was originally intended. But what I would like to see is, personally, I would like to see them come out in 2021, show the last 3 episodes as it was intended, do a short break, maybe a month at most, maybe, and then go on to the next season. That way there's like a clear feeling of this is the next season.
Yeah, because we already know, I think, Supergirl at least is being partially rewritten with the finale, because they're changing some stuff with Lex, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But as far as Flash goes, I'm pretty sure they're just going to keep it going as it was and just kind of retool that into being the season premiere.
Good.
But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that like this the pandemic literally stopped everything that was like in the middle of something. Like nothing that was happening is happening anymore.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be crazy. Like, how does this affect Batwoman if Ruby Rose is leaving and they didn't even finish the first season?
Right.
How do they finish that arc without her?
Well, they're definitely going to recast her. That's the definite report.
Well, so this is what Caleb and I were saying, right? And this is the Galaxy 1000 IQ play by the CW. Is Thea Queen is off on her own after the season finale of Arrow.
Yep.
Just get her to play Batwoman.
She has the training.
She could do it. She has the training. She has the brooding. Willa Holland can brood with the best of them.
Right.
Just do it. Yes.
I doubt they will go down that route, but it would be cool.
It's the like million IQ play that they're not brave enough to do, but they should do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow bring in Barbara Gordon, even though she's Batgirl, and make her Batwoman.
Right.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's interesting. Man,
that would be interesting.
They have possibilities. Now,
think of the outrage if they did that, though.
Yeah, that's
what
I was kind of about to get at. It's like they either have to legitimately like recast her, or like they go down a route where they're bringing in another character to fill up the title role, which is its own headache type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. You know, I I I'm hoping. I'm still hoping. This doesn't deter me from actually watching the show. I really enjoyed it. I thought the stuff that they were doing with Alice and her and Kate was really good. But the the show was a bit. My only problem with the show was that it was a little bit slow, but
Yeah, I can see
slow
that.
at times. But other than that, I really liked it. The other thing that like the real gripe I had with the show was the aspect ratio.
What was it?
Bringing back the aspect ratio topic, but no, it was just.
I can't believe that that's actually a sentence you said about a show that's releasing in 2020.
CW. Yeah.
Well, it's just
That's amazing.
The aspect ratio is different from it doesn't switch around like Michael Bay or anything, but it is different from the other shows where
Is it more like a widescreen kind of?
It's a widescreen versus
Bars.
the other shows
Oh,
are
of
full
course.
screen.
Because they
So-
want that slick Christopher Nolan
Right.
Cinematic.
Because they
style.
want to make it look like The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Of course. That's funny.
No,
That's
I mean,
that's genuinely hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's my only gripe. That's just like a small what are you gonna do type of thing. That
Right.
doesn't really affect the
Sure.
show. That's just like my preference. I'm not a big fan of it, but other than that, I like the show. Genuinely I really liked it. Yeah, I actually felt all the CW shows were really strong in the first half.
Yeah.
Leading up to the crossover and all that. Even if the shows didn't lead up to it, what they were talking, what the shows, the story was, all their stories were really well done. I felt so.
Okay.
And now that they're all on break, I'm probably going to take this time to get caught up on the ones that I'm not caught up on, like Supergirl, Batwoman, Stargirl. Now that it's starting. And I
Yeah.
even decided, now that it's all on the CW Seed, I might watch the old Constantine show just since I'm such a huge fan of the character.
Well,
yeah.
Not a bad idea.
The HBO Max. Well, it's going on Netflix for all these shows except for, I think, Batwoman, because it's a newer show. But anyways, they got. This might not be effective towards this season, but definitely in the next season, I think. The CW shows are going to HBO Max.
And I would bet that the DC Universe shows like Titans and
Right.
Doom Patrol go there too.
Yep, all of DC's streaming services going on there. So.
Yeah. So, which hopefully actually means that Young Justice will continue to get new seasons even after whenever the fourth one releases.
Right.
So,
We're going
let's
into the big topic here.
the big boy from like
the good one.
just today. This is the good news. Just today we learned that not only is the Snyder Cut a real thing, it's coming out exclusively on HBO Max starting in 2021.
Something we've dreamed about.
So
I can't believe
excited.
This is something that only. This is stuff of legend, of myth.
This is the myth of the legendary Snyder Cut has come to free us all from the tyranny of Marvel or whatever. I don't know.
I was gonna
Where
pass
else
it
that
down
goes.
to my sons, my kids, tell them stories about what could have been, never was.
Exactly.
Now actually will be. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
I
Thanks for
remember.
coming to my TED Talk.
I remember so many conversations of people asking Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And I would always do like this crazy thing of like, oh, if anything it'll happen at this, and if anything it'll happen at this. And well, the most common thing that I've been saying for the past year is that if Snyder Cut were ever to be released, it would be on HBO Max. And lo and behold, who was
It
right?
happened.
Yours truly. I was so happy to even find out that I was right. Like, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. No.
We did it.
Because even at that point, when I was saying like, oh, it'll be released on, if anything, on HBO Max, I said, if it's not going to get released there, it's not going to happen at all. That was kind of like my feelings towards it.
Right.
Because they definitely won't re-release it in theaters. It was just like, it just felt like the right platform to put it on. And
Yeah.
if they didn't put it on there, I would say it was highly unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even what
I
surprises
agree with
me
that.
is that it's coming in 2021. I thought they were just going to, personally, I thought they were going to just do it at launch. Like, that was going to be the surprise of launch, and like, oh yeah, one more thing. We have Zack Snyder's Justice League.
And one more thing.
I think they would have done that, but they needed to do reshoots, and so that's probably why it's still taking some time.
Oh, did they needed to do reshoots? What?
Yeah, supposedly from what I've seen. Now this could be wrong, but I think now it might be. There's been some conflicting reports. Some have said reshoots, and some have said it just needs some post-production stuff being done, some visual effects.
Mustachio.
So,
wait.
So it's mostly, from what I've heard, it's mostly just VFX work that needs done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we get the mustache back?
Yeah, get the mustache. I think so. Supposedly, though, I'm kind of surprised at the budget because Warner Brothers supposedly is giving $20 to $30 million to finish the movie.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Zack Snyder says it will be an entirely new thing, especially talking to those who have seen the released movie, a new experience apart from that movie.
So, are we getting the original
4-hour cut?
Which is what? I mean, we thought Irishman was something, but 4 hours. That's a decent cake.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm a bit skeptical though. I'm a bit skeptical because the same. I mean, it's the same framework essentially, but like, I mean, of course, we're gonna get more. We're gonna get almost we're almost gonna get 2 hours added, but it's gonna be the same villain. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully they do something with the CGI. Make the villain a little more.
Gonna get touched up.
Yeah. Hopefully, and I'm hoping that the villain is. That's what I'm most skeptical about, is because the villain is very, very flat. And when we went to go see it,
that's the most uninteresting part of Justice League is the villain. I agree.
Yeah, and hopefully those 2 hours really help develop. I mean, the characters, of course, but also make it a little more compelling with their what they have to face.
I agree.
From what I can see, I think the characters, like the actual team themselves, are going to get more backstory as well as
more Cyborg.
More Cyborg.
Yeah, more Cyborg. Yeah,
well,
it's extremely rare.
I think supposedly this is also going to introduce more of the DC universe as a whole. Like supposedly we're even going to get Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about that.
That would be awesome. But
that would be awesome.
See, here's the thing. I, as pumped up as I am, I got to remember back to Batman v Superman.
And back to the roots.
The problem with Batman v Superman, one of the big problems, was that it was trying to overstuff things. I hope that we're not overstuffing this film. Like, you know what I mean? Adding in Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern. Although we did get Green Lantern briefly in Whedon's Justice League.
That's true.
Yeah, the fight sequence.
The character of Martian Manhunter is, I don't know if it's technically spoilers if the movie came 3 years ago or something like that. But supposedly that the character of Martian Manhunter was already in it. We were just seeing him in his human form, and we just didn't. All the scenes with him in Martian Manhunter form were cut.
I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, John Jones can shapeshift and stuff. So
Yeah.
Or
I already know who it is because I read some reports, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys want me to say. So
no,
I won't tell you.
I wouldn't want to know. But my other big question here is whether or not they're going to. So if they probably can't do actual reshoots because Ben Affleck doesn't want to, be a part of it. Although he might just come back just for this. I have a feeling
he might. Wait, what if they just? The most wild thing to me would be if they just reshoot all of it with Robert Pattinson as Batman.
That would be wild.
Shoot all of his scenes.
That would be the most wild thing. Just all of Ben Affleck's scenes
They just
are reshot with.
they completely canceled the Batman movie and they.
I mean, they've CGI'd a mustache out. They might as well just CGI Ben Affleck back in there.
Oh no!
Have it just been a Leia situation or something. It's almost like he died.
They just
no!
a whole Ben Affleck into the movie.
And then the other big thing is if they are reshooting it, there's been a couple of actors since this movie has came out where they've undergone a bit of controversy. Through Ezra Miller and Amber Heard. If they bring back, what was Aquaman's girlfriend's name? I forget.
Aquaman's what?
Who's the girlfriend of Aquaman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mara.
Yeah.
Mara.
Yeah. I think I'm expecting that it's mostly just going to be post-production related stuff that they need to do. Because from what I've heard, Zack Snyder already shot. I guess I kind of got it mixed up. It's post-production stuff, not reshoots. It's mostly all going to be rescoring the movie because they originally had Junkie XL doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because rescoring it.
Because originally it was Danny Elfman who did it, but I think it's Junkie XL that bring it in. Yeah.
Oh.
But he's taking Hans Zimmer's themes.
Sure.
Like some of the original themes from like Man of Steel and BVS, I'm sure will still be in it. But the core movie is being rescored, as well as I think a bulk of it is just VFX work needs completed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be stuff like if you look at the original trailer for the movie and then compare it to some of the later trailers, a lot of the VFX work and color is changed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like there were some like that shot in the final battle is just regular time, but in the final cut it's got this weird orange tint.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of, even if it is scenes that were in the original movie that Joss Whedon also used in his cut, I'm sure we'll still have those, but they'll probably be, the VFX will be changed or they'll be relearned. It's mostly all just going to be post-production work that needs done.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we basically have about a half hour left before we hit the 2 hour mark. So I want to move on to some topics, as I like to call them. And Ahmad, I think you should, since you have been away for so long, I want to catch up with you on what you've been absorbing during quarantine, during your trip to India.
Yes. So I've watched a lot of things, and I'd like to start off. I guess I'll start off with the TV shows that I'm currently watching, or at least started watching. Ooh. I started watching Sherlock recently, and I really like it. Oh. I think it's very interesting. It's on Netflix. Benedict Cumberbatch. I was never a Cumberbatch kid, but I think I'm becoming one. I think I'm becoming really quick. I've never seen Doctor Strange, believe it or not.
Oh, you've never
Oh.
seen Doctor
And
Strange?
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
it's one of the things that I've missed. I need to watch it. I don't know if
kinda
it's on
crazy.
Netflix or not. Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, I've seen
It's on
every
Disney
other Marvel
Plus now.
movie. Is it?
Yeah, that's not Disney.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, they have all the Marvel. That's right. Yeah. I do have to renew my Disney Plus membership, especially if I have to start watching the Clone Wars as well. But
right.
and then I finished. This is more on like a sports, I guess, note, but like The Last Dance, apparently pulling in 13 million views a week, which is not surprising because the NBA isn't a thing anymore. So people got to get their basketball.
Very true.
and-
Rip the NBA.
Yeah. So I've watched that, and that was really interesting. It's a docu-series on the Chicago Bulls from the 90s. That was really fun. And I think that's, of course, the Clone Wars I'm going to have to start to rewatch. And I've begun to, they just added Avatar on Netflix, and I've watched the first episode just for nostalgic reasons. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I'll find a way to do this. But I'm prioritizing the Clone Wars. I'm prioritizing because of all the things you guys have been telling me about it, and without any spoilers, of course. But anything and everything I've heard, people have really liked the last season. So, or at least a mixed bag. The last 4 episodes, I believe you guys said.
The last 4 episodes are the best. First 4 are cool, but just kind of filler, and the middle 4 are not great.
Right.
They're not bad. They're just like, this is what you're going out on. Like,
yeah.
I mean, season material.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it'll be worth watching, or at least finishing up the Clone Wars finally. And I can't go to my grave knowing that I didn't finish the Clone Wars series. So
Right.
I have to watch, finish what I started. And then I guess I'll move on to movies that I've seen.
Okay.
Saw Zombieland for the first time, the first one. Didn't see the second one because I know the second one isn't as good, but the first Zombieland is really good. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of people who do hate on Jesse Eisenberg as an actor and as a person, but I think he's good.
That's another thing we're getting. Oh.
No, you're good. What were you gonna say?
That's another thing that we might get more of in the Snyder Cut.
Oh no!
Yeah, more Jesse.
Oh no!
We kind of skipped over that one.
Oh no!
But yeah, I saw Zombieland, and I saw Moon with Sam Rockwell on Netflix.
That's a good
I really
movie.
liked Moon.
It's really good.
Yeah, I know where you talked about it. I don't know if Caleb or Azra you've seen Moon.
Yeah, I
have
saw
not.
it. I saw it right around the same time Sawyer did. We both had it for Sci-Fi, and I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of the stuff that I remember from the film. I think Sam Rockwell does an amazing performance.
Yeah.
The film it had its problems, but specifically I can't really remember what the problems were. Probably if we're talking about it more, it'll probably jog my memory. But overall I really liked the film.
No, I agree with you. I mean, Sam Rockwell's performance was outstanding, and I think that it's a different sci-fi story. I mean, it's kind of crazy what they were able to achieve. It's an independent film. It's an indie movie, and it's the sci-fi film. Like it's different from what I've typically seen, but I just love how it kind of the expectations or it kind of blew my expectations away, and it becomes something. The story becomes something that I wasn't really expecting at all, and I love the last sequence in the movie. I don't want to give too many spoilers away as to what occurs, but I really enjoyed the. I really like kind of space isolated movies, kind of like Martian. I think Martian. No,
The Martian.
Yeah, it was
Martian. Yeah. With slipping my memory.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. There we go. How can I forget? Literally one of the only actors in the movie. That I can remember. But yeah, so the Moon was really great.
Yeah.
I loved that. I have to see the other film with Sam Rockwell in it. I know, sorry, you could talk a little bit about it, but it's on Netflix as well. Midnight Special.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, Sam Rockwell's not in that one.
Oh, not. Oh, well, who's in it then? Who's?
Michael Shannon and Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. That's right. That's right. Michael Shannon was the person. That's right. I'd like to see that too. I guess that's not related then. I try to tie them together.
Well, there is one. Maybe you're thinking of, because I mentioned Netflix. Is it Mute that you were thinking of?
Yeah, I think Mute is also one I saw. Yeah.
Because Sam Rockwell has a cameo in it, but it is the same director as Moon.
Okay, yeah, that's
maybe
right.
It's supposedly in the same universe,
Oh,
so maybe
yeah,
that's the one you're thinking of.
Yeah. I'd like to check Mute out, but also Midnight Special, since I've heard you talk about that. But moving on really, really quickly, I rewatched A Star Is Born and Place Me on the Pines with Ryan Gosling, and they're both really great movies. I don't know if any of you have seen A Star Is Born, but it's
I have not.
You haven't seen it?
I've been meaning around to get to it, but I just haven't.
Yeah, it's on HBO, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I got to see it on there. But Bradley Cooper is in both movies, and he's a really great actor. And then I rewatched 1917, which is just as amazing.
I need to get around to that one.
Yeah, it's great. It's not as good as it was watching it on the big screen, but it was still just as impactful.
I noticed when I rewatched it, it definitely felt like, I still had the intended effects, but definitely this film was definitely made for the theaters, and it really shined in the theaters. And there's nothing wrong with watching it on a video release,
Right.
You just might not get exactly the same experience.
Might not be the same thing. Sure, right. I get that.
Yeah. Speaking of video releases, Scoob came out this weekend, and apparently it's horrible, which really makes me sad.
No.
That's unfortunate.
I know.
I've heard bad, nothing but bad things. That's unfortunate.
It sucks. They should get me to make a Scoob movie. The first mistake is they called it Scoob. They shouldn't have called it that. But I'll accept the title, but not the movie.
Right.
Every time I see that trailer, it makes me think of the Phantom episode.
Oh yeah, that was the one that got away. No one will ever experience that. And then lastly, I'd like to mention I've seen Hell or High Water with Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges. It's a really great movie. I don't know if you guys like neo westerns. You guys like Logan?
Oh
yeah.
I need to check this movie out. I've been wanting to see it for a while.
Yeah, no, I would recommend it, Sawyer. I mean, it's really good. I think you'd like it. I think all of you would like it. But I love Chris Pine's performance. Is surprising. Chris Pine, I think, is a good actor. Really, he isn't really in as many performances where I've been like, I mean, he was in Wonder Woman, which that was great, but I haven't really seen him in much. But this movie really stands out.
I thought he was great in Star Trek.
Yeah, he's really good as Captain Kirk.
I haven't seen any of those movies. Oh, I've seen like bits of those movies. I have to watch them though.
Definitely recommend at least the first one.
Yeah, is the first one on any streaming platforms at all? Or
I don't think so.
It's probably on CBS All Access.
Yeah, it's probably all on CBS.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. They have all those movies. But then Jeff Bridges is Jeff Bridges, and he plays a cool kind of sheriff who. It's a heist film. It's a neo-western heist film. Two brothers who rob banks to kind of supply their or provide for their family, provide for their sister and nephews. And Jeff Bridges is on the case, and it's a really great movie. I'd recommend it. But those are the films that I've seen lately. I have a lot of them, but yeah,
it's a pretty good lineup.
That is a pretty good lineup, I have to say.
Get as many films as I can, and but we have the whole summer.
Yes, so. We have so much quarantine time. It's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
there's a lot. I'm kind of just like a little giddy and like everything that I need to get back on, get caught up on and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
It's funny, I have been, playing. I actually was a little bit surprised, as to how much I was able to get through during the semester itself in terms of video games. But in terms of like TV shows or even movies, I'm so behind on. So it's going to be a fun summer for just getting caught up on just that stuff. So I'm pretty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
I've got a pretty good list of stuff that I've already made through too that I'm going to have to keep adding to.
Yeah.
Sawyer, speaking of, do you want to talk about anything that you've been playing or watching?
So I've got a little bit of a list here. The first thing is, this is just a smaller one. I've been playing through, they were on sale recently, so I picked them up on the PlayStation Store, was the Call of Duty Zombies stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of the season passes were on sale, so I've been playing them with Taylor. And there's I really enjoyed those. I've been having a good time with that. But a good chunk of my time has been recently spent to, and I beat it last night, Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh yeah.
So that's sort of the magnum opus of Assassin's Creed by my understanding. Is that's
certainly one of the best ones.
The gold standard.
Which one is that one again?
2.
The second one.
Where was
it's Renaissance Italy.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. That's considered the best one. Right next to is Black Flags.
I personally prefer this more than Black Flag because I like the story more than Black Flag.
Right.
But what I didn't 100% it. I only did the story with stuff because I'm making my way through the whole series in time for Valhalla. But I really enjoyed the game. I thought I got the Ubisoft gave away the PC version for free as part of their stay-at-home initiative. So that included the 2 DLC episodes that I never played before.
The stay-at-home initiative. Sorry, I was just gonna say the stay-at-home initiative sounds like an Avengers mission.
Right.
Playing the game again. I played it years ago, back when I was in middle school, but playing it again now, game is still just as great.
Yep.
Likable characters, likable story, really interesting plot. Can't wait to continue Ezio's story in Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I also watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for the first time.
How's that?
It's really cheesy and it's very self-aware, stupid, but it's a fun time.
It's one of the trippiest experiences I've ever had watching a movie. I feel.
Yeah.
It's incredibly dumb, but it's just charming.
That's what
I like about it. What was that?
What is this on, and what is it about?
The first one is on Starz, and the second one is on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It's Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves play the main characters, Bill and Ted. And it's basically 2 extremely dumb high school guys who have finished a history report and get an A on it, or else they'll fail out of high school. And so it turns out that they're also rock stars, or at least trying to be rock stars. And in the future, they're the basis. Their music is the basis for the entire civilization. It's stupid. So somebody goes back in time to help in the time machine to help Bill and Ted finish their history report.
Mm-hmm.
And so this time machine is used by Bill and Ted to go back in time to different historical periods and fetch these historical figures and bring them to what was modern day at the time, 1989, and help them finish their oral history report.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially Bill and Ted hopping to bring Abraham Lincoln, Genghis Khan, Joan of Arc, and all these other historical figures to 1989 California.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, like it's dumb.
Wild.
It's stupid, but it's really charming and it's really fun.
Yeah. That's the kind of like movie I'd probably put on, open a bag of Twizzlers too, and just like midnight, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly,
That's exactly
yeah.
what you should do. It's just like it's a good time to just sit back and have a good time with.
Yeah.
The next thing I watched was Extraction on Netflix.
Oh yeah. That was.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about this because
That's the Chris Hemsworth movie, right?
yeah. So produced by the Russo brothers, correct?
Yeah.
So I watched it, and it was very intriguing. Now, I think the story was anything too special. I mean, it's a traditional action movie storyline of we have to go in to extract this high value person. Of course,
Right.
something goes wrong, so it's these two essentially bonding while also trying to escape the circumstances surrounding them. Like
Right.
it's a very simple story. I will say the action is very impressively shot.
Right. Now that's what I've heard is that because the director of the film has choreographed action sequences for the Avenger films for the Russos, right?
Mhm.
Or
I think so. Yeah. Like the action is very
He stunt coordinated Civil War, The Accountant, Wolf Warrior 2, and then Infinity War and Endgame.
which
So yeah.
the Civil War influence is very noticeable in
Yeah.
watching this movie.
interesting.
I thought the action, it kind of reminded me of John Wick a little bit. It is
Okay.
very hyper violent. Like this movie is extremely violent.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard, and I heard really, the action sequences are breathtaking. Kind of, I mean, they're really well done.
There's a lot of sequences that are made to look like they're all one take. I mean, there's clearly parts where you can tell that's where they cut
Right.
and then continued. But I also only know that because I'm we all are film students, so Caleb, you're also
You're taught to catch that.
Yeah.
Right.
When is it going dark? Okay.
But yeah, I think the action was well shot. There's a lot of, like I said, cool one take style sequences that are really actually very impressive. Chris Hemsworth, his character isn't exactly that original for an action movie, especially one that's called Extraction. But
Yeah.
like if you've got 2 hours to spare and you want to see some really impressive action scenes, just throw this on in the background. Like it's
Right.
Nice.
interesting time.
Interesting. I've been meaning to check it out. Really.
The only a couple other things that I wanted to mention, I can rapid fire one real quick, is this second half of the season of Rick and Morty has been really good. I quite enjoyed it so far.
I've been meaning to watch the second half of it'd be the second season. Really, I haven't seen any of them. But where do you watch it on? Where's?
I have AT&T TV, so I've been watching it that way.
Oh, that's right. So I mean, it's on. Okay, so it's on
it's
cable.
on
It's not,
Yeah, I've been watching it on cable or like
Okay.
streaming cable. So
right. So it's not on Hulu. Well, the first season is on Hulu, correct?
the
Or
first 3 seasons are on Hulu. We're in the middle of season 4 right now.
okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure season 4 will all be added to Hulu once the season ends at the end of the month.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Be
this
surprised
season
if not.
it's been funny. I honestly think it's a step up from season 3 because season 3 tended to be a bit too much on the drama and not enough on the comedy. And this season has really kind of stepped it up in terms of being both.
Right.
I also watched Blazing Saddles for the first time.
Oh, that's a classic.
Funny, I had to say I liked Spaceballs a little bit more.
Mhm.
I thought Blazing Saddles was funny, but I thought a large part of the comedy kind of got a little bit stale by the end. Like kind of reusing the same jokes.
Well, yeah. Well, the ending is very, very, very interesting. I mean, it's not
I love the ending. Yeah.
unexpected.
And towards the middle, a large part of the jokes just tended to be the characters using racial slurs, and I was like, okay, it was funny the first time, but
Yeah,
now you're just
yeah,
using the same joke over and over.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. Well, I haven't seen.
Like I get it's the Old West, but like Come on now.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen Spaceballs, and I'd like to check that out because it has John Candy in it, right? John Candy. And,
Yeah, it's John Candy, still directed by Mel. It was on Amazon Prime when I watched it. I don't know if it's still on there because I checked it out in November.
I have no clue. I have seen Spaceballs, but man, I gotta tell you, it's been like a while.
Right. Yeah.
Probably a good 5 to 10 years.
The last two movies that I mentioned that I've watched I watched it's a little anime movie called Redline. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it.
I haven't.
I hadn't heard of it until you posted it in the chat.
Right, Redline. Is that like what is that about?
So it's an anime, came out in 2011, and I didn't really know much about it other than I thought it got good reviews, and I thought the basic plot sounded cool, so I just threw it on. It was available for free on the service called Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi has. Yeah.
So I threw it on, and it was actually really fun. It's kind of like, I guess the way I described it was if it's an R-rated version of Mad Max meets Speed Racer.
Yeah, I was literally.
I see some Speed Racer.
I literally just looked up this Redline, and the first image here is just like, this looks like Speed Racer. This looks awesome.
So it's a world of like drag racing, street racing type thing, or just like races like Speed Racer that are just these really high intensity, really extreme races. And it's in a world that's like intergalactic, I guess, like aliens exist and there's all these different planets. And a core bulk of the story is the next red line circuit. So there's different, because the red line is like the toughest racing circuit. It's really hard to get into. And so the main character, JP, as well as a bunch of other racers, like that's from the first race right there, and it's insane the mod to put in the chat there.
Yeah.
But the core story is they go to a planet called Robo World, which is this really militarized, really controlling planet, and the race occurs on Robo World. So they're trying to finish the race while this Robo World military is also trying to kill all the racers. It's insane. It is so stupid, but it's so much fun to watch just because they know it's dumb and they just roll with it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I highly recommend it. It's on Tubi for free.
Okay.
It's ad supported, but there's only like a handful of ad breaks. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Tubi has some gems.
Yeah. It's I definitely recommend checking it out. Like I said, the best way to describe it is Mad Max meets Speed Racer.
Yeah, looks like it's spot on based on the pictures.
And from what was really impressive to me is there were, as far as I know, I don't know if this is true, but I read in trivia somewhere that this was all done in drawings. There was no CGI used at all.
Interesting.
Wow. That's
that
cool.
It was over 100,000 drawings for this film, and no CGI was used.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I had a good time with it. I didn't know much about it, and I'm definitely gonna pick it up on Blu-ray one day. That way, I can just not have to watch it supported and just watch it on repeat, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the last movie that I watched recently that I wanted to mention was I watched the Lego Batman movie.
Oh,
what are your thoughts? I've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
But it was for free on my cable service that my parents have. So I just decided to throw it on one day after I watched the latest Rick and Morty. Didn't expect much, but actually thought it was a pretty good time.
It's a really good film. I wasn't expecting it either. I think it's really underrated. Actually.
One show I forgot to mention, and I'm kind of a miss that I forgot to. I've been watching the Lego Masters show, the Brick Masters, hosted by the voice of Batman in that movie. And
Will Arnett.
Yeah, Will Arnett. I love Will Arnett's hilarious. I haven't seen the movie, but I love the Lego Masters show. Yeah.
Speaking of Will Arnett, I think he does a really good job as Batman in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's
that's what I hear.
the movie, it's clearly made for children. It's clearly a 2017 kids movie, especially in the soundtrack. I am glad
right.
They joke about how the movie has traditional pop music that makes studio executives and families happy. Like they joke about that in the movie. So I thought that was cool. But I mean, really, it's actually got a really interesting storyline that deals with Batman's struggle to have attachments and have a family.
Mm-hmm.
They deal with Batman's loneliness, as well as his relationship with the Joker. There's also some really great jokes in this movie.
Oh yeah, the jokes were very good with the Batman lore, and also any kind of Justice League jokes too were really funny too.
My one minor complaint that I would have was I thought that I guess there's really two, but they're relatively minor.
Mm-hmm.
One was I thought, well, do you guys care about spoilers for this at all?
I haven't seen it.
Not particularly.
I haven't seen it. I would if it's a major spoiler, but if it's not, then that's fine.
Then I will avoid it then. I'll just say that there's towards the end, the big threat, the end, I was expecting something that was more along the lines of DC lore. And I guess this isn't really a spoiler. It's more of a joke than it is spoiling a joke than it is spoiling a plot.
Then you can go ahead and say it then.
Okay. So it ends up being that the main villains at the end that are kind of used for joke purpose are not the DC villains. They're classic Warner Brothers villains.
So
like Sauron, Agent Smith, like a bunch of like
funny.
Warner Brothers villains in Lego form rather than DC villains.
Interesting.
That's funny.
Where have I seen? Where's that from? Where have I seen something like that? Oh, I guess Ready Player One. No, well, but not really.
Well, there was the Lego movie.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah. Did you end up? Did any of you see the original and the second one?
I have seen the original. I love the original one.
What was
like? I think this this movie, like that's not really a plot spoiler. That's more of just like they use. I mean, obviously that is the ending battle, but it's not really affecting the plot in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I thought like originally I was a little disappointed by that. Like I thought the joke worked at first, but the fact that they were the ending threat, I was like, could we have gotten a little bit more of like actual Batman lore rather than them just saying, oh, here's famous Warner Brothers characters.
Right.
But that's really a minor complaint. That, and I also thought that the music got a little bit stale, but that's also just not the kind of music that I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much kids movie music, so I can kind of give it a little bit of a pass.
Right.
But those are really my only complaints. That the music was a bit stale, and I kind of was disappointed with the villain choice at the end. Other than that, characters are great, animation is really great, the story was fun, and the jokes are hilarious.
Yeah, I have to check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to watch it at some point.
It's pretty good. It's worth the watch.
That pretty much covers everything that I've watched or played since the last episode. I think on my next game on my list will be Assassin's Creed 2 Discovery, which is the DS spin-off of Assassin's Creed 2. And I'm probably going to watch Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey tonight, the second Bill and Ted movie.
Nice. So, Caleb, how are we doing on time?
So, we are currently in at an hour and 28 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I thought we were way farther in than we are. So, Caleb, do you have anything you wanted to talk about? I know you mentioned something that you had seen. I don't know if you still want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, I'll still talk about that. Just a rapid fire real quick. I mean, yeah, it won't be like quick. It won't be like long or anything, but one because I'm trying to save this stuff for later conversations once it's actually completed and stuff. So currently I am watching Ozark. So
oh, cool.
I'm almost done with season 1. I'm going to do my review on the podcast as soon as I'm done with the series. So that should be done within probably within a week or two. Now, now that I got the time.
I just think
Oh, go ahead.
Jason Bateman is amazing as an actor.
Oh yeah, have you seen it?
I've seen the first half of the first season, but I've seen
Okay.
episodes. I mean, like I need to watch it all, but I think Jason Bateman in general is really
Right.
good. So
I really like Jason Bateman.
I'm in 8 episodes, I think, or 10. I have 2 more episodes left of the first season, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really good. And then I'm currently obviously watching the Clone Wars. About halfway through season 5, so I should be done soon. And then I'm working to try to platinum both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 at the same time.
Oh wow!
So
that's a task.
That's a bit of the gaming stuff I've been working on. But one of the things that I've actually completed, in terms of stuff that I could talk about is I recently watched mind you, this is like we'll get to that, but I recently watched Spirited Away.
I love.
Great movie.
It is a really great movie.
Funny thing about Spirited Away, it used to haunt me as a kid. I used to be scared of Spirited Away and
really
creatures.
I was scared too. I couldn't actually legitimately finish the film. And now that I'm older, I recently went back to it. I'm like, let's watch it, and I did not disappoint. I really liked it. I'm excited because I'm kind of going to start to go down. If it's available, I'm going to try to get through the Studio Ghibli films, and
oh, nice.
I'm trying to go down that route, and I think I'm really excited that I started off with Spirited Away.
It's a good one to start off with.
It was really good. The characters were all great. I don't know if there's a dubbed version of this, but I watched it sub, and I thought the voice acting was absolutely.
I watched
tremendous.
the dubbed version, and it was really good. I think. Go ahead, Amad.
No, I was gonna say. I was just gonna say, Grave of the Fireflies is really devastating.
Yeah,
that is so depressing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's which is I think not all of their films are like that, but that one's a really good movie.
I saw that's on Hulu, and ironically, I haven't seen that one yet, but I did see recently Barefoot Gen, I believe it is, again, which is kind of like Grave of the Fireflies. Same topic.
Yeah.
That one's definitely like a sad movie. But
yeah,
I really enjoyed Spirited Away. It felt like it felt really good to watch it. It was the characters were all great. No Face terrified me as a kid, and now I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I definitely feel that.
How many of Studio Ghibli films have you seen, Azra? Have you seen?
I think I've only seen Totoro and Spirited Away.
Okay.
I feel like I must have seen another one at some point, but those are the two I remember the most.
Those two were the ones that I watched as a kid and couldn't get through it because I felt like I was a little bit scared. But that was that's why I didn't ever get back to them. And I'm glad they're really beautifully at least Spirited Away is beautifully animated. From start to finish, it's a great film. I'm trying to think of some stuff that I can think about.
Well,
Go ahead.
speaking of anime, I've gotten slowly back into Naruto.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Did you start Shippuden finally?
I'm like 50 episodes away.
Oh, getting close.
But
Hey.
taking it slowly, I guess. I don't know. I have a lot on my list. I need the Clone Wars. I need.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But I'm excited to get to Shippuden.
You just got to make sure you don't spoil yourself, man.
Yeah, that's
some of those spoilers are like too good to spoil yourself on.
Yeah. I gotta get to. Yeah, I just have to get later into Shippuden when all the crazy stuff starts to happen.
Yeah, because Shippuden gets wild.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Anyways, Caleb, I think you were saying something
Yeah,
about.
sorry, Caleb.
No, you're fine. I think yeah, it's just visually they do like the use of mise-en-scène in this film is really well done. I felt like, visually,
Yeah.
every shot was just really well put together. Many all characters felt different. Like it was just really well crafted of a film. I was very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. I love. I mean, like I haven't seen all of Studio Ghibli films, and I'm just like I love them all. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. I think that's all.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
You took the yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, go ahead, Ahmad.
Yeah, I was gonna say you took the Japanese class, right?
Yeah.
You watched some Japanese films.
Yeah. I've watched quite a few. Among my favorites.
We'll have to.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say we'll have to talk about that. Yeah, at some point. Like, some of the movies you've seen.
Definitely.
I know you've seen Seven Samurai and Rashomon.
Yep. I think. Yep, I've seen Seven Samurai, Rashomon, some. I saw Crazed Fruit, Tokyo Story.
That's her Tokyo Story. I'm so sad I missed that class. So you said you had a friend who was interested in talking about that stuff.
Yeah, Lucas actually wants to come back on to talk about it because the one time that he was on the podcast, I think you were absent that day.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, surprise.
You got to get some of that Japanese film knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No,
I think I was absent that day too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We could still.
When we're actually back in person, we'll have to have you on here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be a really cool topic to discuss, because there's definitely a lot of films that we did see in that class, and a lot of them were really good. I felt. I don't think there was actually one where I felt like I'm not a big fan of, but I really liked all of them personally. So but yeah, among the favorites definitely was Seven Samurai, Tokyo Story, and Crazed Fruit, and
Rashomon.
Although I do have some complaints with Rashomon, but I think I will save that for when Lucas is here.
We can have a discussion about that.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we had to watch Spirited Away for that class, but mind you, I would have watched it. I'm telling you, I would have watched it. It might not have been right away, but it was on the list.
Right. I mean, I'd like to rewatch Spirited Away.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So I want to talk about just a couple of things, and then I have so much time on my hands, I have a little surprise topic for us to discuss at the end here. But
I'm gonna be right back. I'll be just right back.
Okay.
Continue talking.
So I talked about how I tried to play the Uncharted franchise unsuccessfully. Turns out I don't like shooters very much, so that it is what it is.
Everybody has their cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, and I was a little disappointed because I was like, yeah, I want to like this a lot more than I do, but I just kept dying, and I was like, I don't really want to put more time in this than I need to. So I stopped playing that and went back to Persona 5, and I've just been playing a lot of that. I got the platinum a few days ago, so that was cool.
Awesome.
And I have to say, like, if you have any affinity for anime or like role-playing games or anything like that, then I think Persona 5 Royal is like right up your alley. Like, I think people who aren't into that stuff aren't going to be a big fan of it, but if they are, then I think it's basic. It, like, beyond that, it basically has universal appeal. So I think that was great. And I played the original Persona 5 a couple of years ago, and it's one of my favorite JRPGs. And so I bought the re-release on PS4, and it's the stuff that it adds is all so good that it justifies a $60 like a new $60 purchase, which is really impressive. Not a lot of games can do that, I think.
Right.
So I highly recommend that. I rewatched Knives Out a couple days ago.
You see, that's what I want to rewatch.
My parents just like rented it on Amazon or something like that.
Right. We did the same thing with the 1917.
I rewatched Knives Out as well.
Yeah, and I tell you, like, I was expecting to not like that movie as much the second time around, just because it hinges itself on you not knowing what's going on. But it's really good the second time around.
No, I loved. I mean, so have you seen the film, sir?
I have not, but I do know who done it at the end.
Oh no!
Okay, that is unfortunate.
In the donut hole.
You too. Donut. No, it's a donut within a donut.
Within a donut hole. No, donuts are really a paradox if you think about it. Like the donut hole, like, they sell donut holes.
Right.
That's true.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, the Steve Jordan, when there's a donut hole inside of another donut hole.
But you think about the donut holes themselves, though. I mean, that's a whole thing.
It just, I feel like Daniel Craig is the only person who could have possibly played Benoit Blanc.
I still think that was one of my favorite performances of last year.
Oh yeah.
Last year was tough. Last year was by far my favorite year of the decade, for movies. That was one of the performances that really kind of slipped away, or got really went under people's radars, maybe, but didn't get as much recognition. I loved it.
I do not understand. I think that movie actually has no right being as good as it is, because it's like, it's just got like so much going against it. What with like the weird genre change in the middle of it to like
Ryan Johnson directing.
Well, no.
I know some people. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like one of the things actually is that like the star cast could have easily overshadowed the movie Ryan Johnson was trying to make,
Yeah.
and it's really impressive that it didn't.
Right. Right.
Like it's so clean in what it's trying to do. It's one of the cleanest movies since Inception, I think, actually, in terms of just like how well it's told. Like, I think Knives Out is like one of the slickest tellings of a story I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
really, really solid.
I will
I
say
totally agree with you.
it really is worth the rewatch because you can really you can really pick up now that like you can really pick up on a lot of subtleties and like
Yeah.
a lot of good setups that could escape you the first time, and I really enjoyed my experience the second time around, and I watched it with my family during that time, and it was fun to see their reactions go through all that. So
no, I
highly recommended.
I was gonna say when I know some people who have avoided watching this movie because Ryan Johnson directed, which is really unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. I feel like Ryan Johnson, like you can disagree with creative decisions, but you can't tell me that the execution on said creative decisions weren't on point in The Last Jedi.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Like the execution on the ideas themselves, you can disagree with me on, but the execution is like really good in that movie.
Yeah,
like that's what I was saying. Like when this movie was coming out, like I joked about it, but I only reason I didn't see it is just simply because I didn't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but while there are some decisions in The Last Jedi that I disagreed with, I would never say that Ryan Johnson's not a good director. I mean, Looper is proof enough that he is a great director.
Yeah, no, you really liked Looper. I mean, I also I've only seen Looper a couple of times, but a while ago. But I also really love Looper as well, and he's a really good director.
It's one of the best performances that Bruce Willis has given in like a decade.
yeah, seriously. I mean, the fifth Die Hard movie. I mean, I forgot about that. That was rough.
What Good Day to Die Hard was that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So let's move on to our final topic. And nobody knew I was going to bring this up, and I wasn't going to bring this up until I realized how much time I had. But we all saw a movie back before quarantine hit. And if you remember correctly, we never talked about this movie on the podcast. We watched it specifically for the podcast, and then we never talked about it because we didn't have time.
This is in February.
Birds of Prey.
Oh, Birds of Prey. Oh, okay.
We never talked about Birds of Prey.
Wait a second. Wow.
I was like, we talked about the Rise of Skywalker.
Listeners will be able to angrily tell me that we did in fact talk about it, and then I will say when, and they will point me to an episode where I mention it once, and I'm like, that's not talking about it.
So mentioned that we saw it and I never talked about the movie.
Exactly. So
I think that actually might have been the last movie I saw in theaters.
That was for me, yeah.
It was Sonic for me, so that
it was Sonic.
That left a good taste in my mouth. So let's. I know we're digging into the back of our brains for this one a little bit,
right?
But general impressions on the movie.
I liked it.
From what I remember enjoying it, but I remember considering it more of a side story than a main film. I think is the way I usually thought of it, and that it was like the cast was good. But I didn't think the comedy landed quite as well as it could have.
Yeah. I mean, Sorry, Caleb, were you gonna say something?
No,
Or
no,
Ezra?
you go ahead.
Okay. I thought it was well. My expectations weren't really that high when I walked in. They weren't high at all.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised, and I think that it was a good film. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't really. I mean, I actually don't know what my. This is really sad. I don't know what my favorite film of 2020 is. But I mean, I guess it's the beginning of. Well, it's the end of May.
Right
but
now, it's a pretty easy. It's a pretty easy
There's
pick for
not
me.
much has come out.
It would probably be. Yeah, I don't think not much. I mean, for you, wouldn't it be Sonic?
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else is gonna come out, what else is there for me to
Yeah, which
to
is really,
choose, right?
really bad to think about.
Right? Like,
Yeah, A Quiet Place 2 would have come out. I think that would have probably been my top one. But
sure.
regardless, I think Birds of Prey might be my number one. No, I can't say that.
Mine
You
is,
can't commit to
I
Birds of
can't
Prey.
commit to that thought.
mine is Onward so far.
All onwards, yeah.
Oh,
I
sure. Yeah. I could see that. Onward's
no,
good.
Yeah, but I really think, I mean, Margot Robbie's performance, I mean,
Oh yeah.
this kind of makes up for, well, she never, I don't know if she was never really a problem with her casting. There was never really a problem with her casting or acting in
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, I guess.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I don't know if we've ever really seen a Harley Quinn put to screen ever. Have we?
Not
Suicide
until
Squad
not
would be
until
the only
Suicide Squad.
time.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a pretty, and she was the person who really wanted to play the character from the very beginning. So, and do the movie.
Which I think is why her performance in Birds of Prey is as good as it is.
Right.
No,
I agree.
I'll say for my part, I feel like I kind of walked in with the low expectations you had, Ahmad, because I was just like, I heard Suicide Squad was so bad, and like, yeah, Ewan McGregor is playing the bad guy, but I don't know if I'm gonna really enjoy this. And I walked out, pleasantly surprised. I thought like, I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was pretty good, and like it struck me that midway through the movie I was like, yeah, they basically just got Ewan McGregor to play American Gordon Ramsay, which I think is pretty, which is a pretty accurate statement if you actually watch the movie. I really liked him. I liked all of the main cast. It seemed a little weird to me. I guess I could understand that, like, maybe they wanted to separate themselves a little bit from Suicide Squad, but it did strike me as a little weird that the Joker is nowhere to be seen in the movie.
Sure.
Like, he's not, like, he exists. People talk about him pretty frequently, but he's not
right
there. Like, he doesn't show up ever. That seemed a little weird to me.
Well, they kind of pulled the classic, what they did in Shazam with Superman with the Joker, because we see him at one point. I don't know if you remember this. We do see him at one point, but we just see his green hair.
Huh. Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was something with a, I think it was a tattoo.
Huh. Wait, which? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like in this weird animated thing, right?
No, well, yeah, he does show up in the animated thing, but it's like a flashback sequence, and Harley was forcing.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and wasn't there also? I think you see him in a flashback to one of the scenes that was in Suicide Squad when they're showing how Harley Quinn kind of became Harley Quinn.
Yeah, was that it? Because
I think you're right.
They fall into the vat, or they fall into the chemicals.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, I think otherwise it was pretty successful for what it was.
I Oh, yeah.
I still sort of I'm finding no cohesion in the DC movies,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
like they're clearly still in some kind of universe.
Right.
Like they've made no attempt to tell me that they're not.
Well, I think
And like and so like it's weird to me that they're all so stylistically different,
Mhm.
and there's no unifying factor among any of them.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's weird to me,
Well-
but it's not bad. It's just
Right.
like it does feel a little off.
Well, that's the
Right
problem.
next
it
to
seems like there's
Shazam.
two separate sections. There's like the Snyderverse stuff that all kind of feels similar, and then you've got the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey stuff that all kind of feel similar, and then you've got
Yeah.
the
Aquaman.
Aquaman. I guess like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, I kind of lump in with the
Aquaman,
Shazam.
Shazam, and Wonder Woman, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, like it just seems like the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey feel distinctly separate from the Justice
Yeah.
League related stuff.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree with that.
I think that's partly because, I think that goes on a studio level. Is because I don't think Warner Brothers. Well, it goes. See, the filmmakers were probably just playing it safe because I don't think the studio gave them answers at the time of what their plan is for the future with these films. You know what I mean? Whether or not it's
Yeah.
still within the Snyderverse, if it's even the Snyderverse anymore. We don't.
Now with the Snyder Cut, that could change.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Be like, because if they do keep this series going, somehow, we still get Robert Pattinson's Batman, but somehow we still get Ben Affleck's Batman or something like that. It's like.
I mean, I've kept saying this, but they're going to use Flashpoint. That's how it's
Yeah.
going to go.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do. I think partially, they're not really setting up rules for this universe because I think they're ready to reset it through Flashpoint.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're
That
going to
movie's
keep
coming.
most of it, and then like the most I think is going to stay in place, and that they're just going to use Flashpoint to explain the Batman change.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
can like this to happen. When
That'd
is
be wild.
the Flashpoint Paradox movie supposed to come?
Well,
Supposedly 2022, I think, but that
Yeah.
could change because of the virus.
it could change because of the virus and the actor.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller?
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but what happened to Ezra Miller? What was that about?
Oh,
Was it just that like
Open.
weird? Was it
No, I
that
don't
just
know.
that weird like grocery store moment or whatever?
He supposedly at some bar like choked some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he
that's
chokeslammed
just a whole
someone.
different thing.
That's not the
Chokeslammed
Flashpoint now.
Like
Imagine
apparently-
what that's gonna do to the Fantastic Beasts movies. Said
Right.
no one ever.
Yeah, considering spoilers for the second one, he's going to be playing a huge role.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like legitimately playing one of the most important characters in Harry Potter history.
Yeah.
And it's
Who
like
does he become?
I'm not telling you. You have to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard it's bad. That's why I haven't watched it yet.
I think people who say it's bad are giving it too bad a rap.
Well, my opinion of the
I think
second
it's
one,
pretty good.
to rapid fire this review real quick of the second one. I think the second one really lags, and right when it gets really interesting, it ends.
Sure.
That's my opinion. Like it really ends, and I'm like,
I can agree with that, but the final act is so good that I forgive the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I really liked the final act in that movie. Yeah. Any more thoughts on Birds of Prey?
well, I actually have something. I thought
Oh, yeah.
visually it really looked really good. Like there was a lot of
Oh, okay.
moments, like one of them. It's the moment when Harley Quinn is breaking into the um, uh, police station, and she's using that grenade launcher, and like it's just it's just a bunch of different colored tear gases or whatever, and it visually looks really cool. A lot of the fight scenes were really cool. I loved a lot of the fight scenes.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I like it.
The
I
fight
also
scenes
thought
were
it kind of stood out with it being R-rated.
yeah.
They got to do some stuff that they wouldn't have been able to do either or otherwise, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, my only complaint about this movie is it's like you said, its place in the universe isn't really clear, and I thought the humor fell pretty flat. But otherwise, I thought everything else was great.
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie that I'll be watching, frequently.
Yeah.
In the next few
Nice.
Years. I really liked it. Not so frequently, because with normal comedies, with comedies, I don't typically watch them that frequently. Every couple of years is kind of like my tourism, because then the jokes just really get old. Doesn't matter what movie, including Deadpool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Including every movie.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sawyer, did you want to say something? Did you already get your thoughts out there?
Yep, you covered everything, I think.
Oh,
I think the only thing I was going to mention to our audience, considering talking about it all the time, I told you guys earlier, but Alan Wake, currently on the Epic Game Store, one of my favorite games, only $1.49 on the Epic Game Store.
Yes.
I can't play it because I have a freaking Mac.
Darn. Find a way to get it Windows installed on your computer.
Yeah.
I bet you could still do that.
Probably a way.
Yeah, so I think that's basically everything we had for today. I'm glad we were able to do this. Hopefully we can keep doing it on a semi-regular basis.
We should do a Snyder Cut commentary when it comes out.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Let me just punch in my week-long HBO Max trial or whatever, and then watch it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for giving us your time and your attention. We shall be returning for your regularly scheduled Lab Rats podcast for the most part over the summer. Mm-hmm. I am graduated now, so I have no idea. Woohoo! So I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep doing podcasts. We don't know how long quarantine is going to last, so we don't know how long we're going to be doing these online. So much is up in the air, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing now until we have more information and we can make some more definitive plans for if I'm leaving, who's taking over, whatever, after that. With that, Sawyer, can you rattle off some social medias for us?
All right. You can find us on Twitter at CastCate, at CASTCATE on Twitter because of our old handle, but you can find us just by searching for the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. And we are also on Instagram at the Lab Rats Podcast. Twitter, you will automatically get notifications every time a new episode goes up. You can follow that link to Podbean, which is one of 7 services we are currently located. You can find us there as well as on Podbean, as well as Twitch, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatever they're calling that now. I know there's some changes. Stitcher, and there's one other one that I'm drawing a blank on. Twitch. Did I already say
Twitch.
Twitch?
Yeah,
You already said Twitch. Did you say YouTube?
YouTube. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay,
YouTube.
yes. Cool. And then the mythical seventh one actually turns out to be Podbean. Yeah. I think that's it. Ahmad, did you have anything else you wanted to tell the audience before we head off?
Look forward to some awesome content in the future.
All right.
Excited to be back.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Caleb, how about you?
Yeah. I'll have some really cool stuff coming up. I have a feeling.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Yup.
All right. With that, bye.
Bye.